Hello, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Jess.
She's the traumatized.
And she's the abandoned. And
welcome
to our podcast.
Where we talk about true crime, spooky things, and everything in between.
And today we are going to be talking about some urban legends.
Woot woot.
Let's go. How was your week?
It was good. I don't think I did anything special. So it was just a chill week. It snowed yesterday, but
Ew.
it's already gone. So other than that, yeah, it's just cold here.
It is cold. Winter's icky.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of winter, I know we had mentioned before the seasonal depression.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. My job actually is offering, they're calling it the Spring Success Program for mental health. And they're providing 8 free therapy sessions. Just not even you don't even have to have the insurance. They're just free therapy sessions along with 24/7 counseling, hotlines and a bunch of other stuff. They're really trying to push mental health is important. And I love that. Also, I've had my first therapy appointment through that, dealing with some personal stuff, but it went really well. And so I'm set up for the next 7 weeks with this. So no co-pays, no anything, just therapy.
That's awesome.
It is really cool.
Yeah, because I know you mentioned that stuff is rough.
Yeah.
Kind of everywhere. Your brother's dealing with stuff.
Yeah, my little brother, he made a very valid point that because he's in the military does not take mental health serious, and it's something that's really should be taken seriously because they've experienced a lot of suicides, and that's terrifying. And even he was saying that he was struggling. So I'm like, if you need anything, I'm here for you. Don't you freaking hesitate. Because it's, he's a 21-year-old guy. You know, they don't expect people to talk about their feelings and stuff, but you have to.
Especially in the military, because you get dragged through the mud if you're oh, so and so
you're weak.
Yeah, so and so spent 24 hours in the psych ward over the weekend or whatever. Everyone knows about it. It's not private. It's rough, especially in the military. Just because just kind of the mindset that they build in you. It's rough.
That really worried me when he told me that too. But we were talking about mental health. So, but yeah,
ask your friends how they're doing.
Check on your friends.
It's very important.
For sure. Because even though they might seem like they're okay, sometimes they just need a person to talk to. Yeah. But yeah, so there's that. My week's challenging. I think challenging is a good word to use.
I think challenging is not going to go away anytime soon.
No, going through some shit. It'll eventually be okay. Disclose more at a later time. But it was funny. Not funny. It was funny. We did our predictions and stuff like that. You were talking to me and you sent me a message. It was because I was like, oh, it's going to be great. We're going to have no drama. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, because
literally
we filmed 2 episodes in a row. And so we did predictions on what our week was going to be like. And it was not at all correct at all. So I think we can cross psychics off our
definitely not psychics.
Definitely
I would say empathetic for sure, but not psychic. No, that's not in our
not in our wheelhouse.
Not even a little. So, but yeah, we're doing the things. We're working, keeping our mental health up, and yeah, it's all good. That was my week.
A short intro today, which is good.
I know we've been
very
bad, but I also think it's because there were the holidays, and then there was the after
we went
holidays.
A couple weeks without talking to each other, basically.
As much as we usually have, we really did. So when we would record, it was aha, But we hung out the last 2 nights, right?
Yeah,
we've been hanging out. We're gonna hang out tonight. We're doing the things. But yeah.
I mean, our hangout tonight is kind of work. This is our work day.
It is our work day.
We record and then Jess edits and then I research. So it's literally a work day.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. I mean, but it's also a fun work day.
That's true.
It's a very for me, recording and editing is actually really relaxing. It gives me something I enjoy doing and I do it and it's chill. So I like it. Do you have the fun fact of the day?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Did you know that grapes light on fire if you heat them up in the microwave?
No, that's why would you put?
You shouldn't, because they'll light on fire. But I found that out and I was like, oh, that sounds like fun.
Who just thought, you know what? I want my grapes warm today.
Ew.
Like, who put that thought out there and then acted on
and
it?
did it and then realized, oh my God,
They catch on fire.
Catch on fire. Anywho. So what is your story today?
I came in costume today.
I literally, she turned on her camera and I went, ah! Like, I was so excited.
Because today I'm talking about a North American legend. I'm talking about Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan. Have you ever heard of him?
With the blue ox.
With the blue ox.
And the big ass axe.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard of him. You know what's interesting though? That's literally the only thing I know about him. Like, I know we learned about him in school, but I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
So,
I'm ready.
The legend of Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan was a giant lumberjack. And a mythical hero of lumber camps in North America. So think of like northern United States and in some parts in Canada too.
Mm-hmm.
He is a symbol of bigness, strength, speed, skill, and vitality. His exploits were told by fires from Wisconsin to Maine, from Minnesota to Oregon, Washington, and California.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Literally. Okay.
The Paul Bunyan character originated in oral traditions, or basically oral storytelling, of North American loggers.
Mm-hmm.
Some say these stories started in the Midwestern Great Lakes area of the United States. Others say that the stories come from French Canada, especially because Bunyan, his last name, is like derived from a French word.
What's French word?
Don't know. Not gonna look it up. Sorry.
Okay. Nope. Don't worry about it.
So Bunyan's stories were usually told in the evening around fires in the bunkhouses. And bunkhouses were a simple building that provided lounging and sleeping quarters for the lumberjacks. So you can like see the bunks in the background.
Interesting. Okay.
Typically, the stories were told to arouse the wonder of the tenderfoot, which was a newcomer or novice. This word was especially used for a person unaccustomed to the hardships of pioneer life, or simply as contributions in storytelling contests. So they would just like, who could tell the best Paul Bunyan story?
Okay.
So here we go. We're going to tell the Paul Bunyan tale. And for this, I have one source that kind of had like most of the information. And then throughout it, I will tell you the variations of different tales.
I'm ready. Okay, let's go. Yeah, I can't. Okay. I'm hoping I remember some of it when you start talking because I genuinely don't remember anything. So I'm interested. Let's go.
So many years ago, Paul Bunyan was born in the northeastern American state of Maine. His mother and father were shocked when they first saw the boy. Paul was so large at birth that 5 large storks had to carry him to his parents.
Okay.
Because we still believe that storks are the ones that deliver us our child.
Only one stork usually carries a baby, though. So 5.
Right.
That's like
5.
It's a big baby.
It's a big baby.
That's all big baby.
As a child, Paul was always hungry. His parents needed 10 cows to supply milk for his meals.
Jesus.
Before long, he ate 50 eggs and 10 containers of potatoes every day.
How do you feed that? What do you mean? Okay.
Young Paul grew so big that his parents did not know what to do with him. Once, Paul rolled over so much in his sleep that he caused an earthquake.
Okay.
This angered people in the town where his parents lived, so the government told his mother and father that they would have to move him somewhere else. Paul's father built a wooden cradle, like a little, bassinet thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents put the cradle in the waters along the coast of Maine. However, every time Paul rolled over, huge waves covered all the coastal towns. So his parents brought his son back on land, and they took him into the woods, and this is where he grew up. As a boy, Paul helped his father cut down trees. Paul had the strength of many men. He was also extremely fast.
Interesting. You usually don't think of people who are very large being fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Have you ever watched Attack on Titan?
No.
The anime? They were like titans and they were very large, but they were also fast, and that's what I'm now picturing Paul Bunyan
as Attack on Titan.
I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know.
So, Maine is very cold for much of the year. One day, it started to snow. The snow covered Paul's home and a nearby forest. However, the snow was very unusual. It was blue. The blue snow kept falling until the forest was covered. Paul put on his snowshoes and went out to see the unusual sight. As he walked, Paul discovered an animal stuck in the snow. It was a baby ox.
Oh, it's a baby.
Paul decided to take the ox home with him, and he put the animal near the fireplace. After the ox got warmer, his hair remained blue. Paul decided to keep the blue ox and named him Babe. Therefore, we have Babe the blue ox.
Babe
grew very quickly, and he followed Paul and grew larger every day. So he would follow Paul around and he would grow. Every time Paul looked, Babe seemed to grow a little bit taller. But there was even a story where he left Babe in the barn with the other animals. And the next morning he woke up and Babe, the whole barn was gone. And he went to find Babe, and Babe was just grazing with the barn on his back because he grew so much.
Oh my God. Jesus. Okay.
In those days, much of North America was filled with thick green forests. Paul Bunyan could clear large wooded areas with a single stroke of his axe. Paul taught Babe to help with his work. Babe was very useful. For example, Paul had trouble removing trees along a road that was not straight, so he decided to tie one end of the road to what remained of a tree in the ground, and Paul tied the other end to Babe. Babe dug his feet into the ground and pulled with all his strength until the road became straight.
You did say road.
Yes.
Okay. So I was like, road. Maybe she meant rope.
Nope.
Okay, road. Got it.
Road.
Okay.
In time, Paul and Babe, the blue ox, left Maine and moved west to look for work in other forests. Along the way, Paul dug out the Great Lakes to provide drinking water for Babe.
What? Paul Bunyan is responsible for the Great Lakes? Okay.
They settled in a camp near the Onion River in the state of Minnesota.
Okay.
In another tale, it is said that Paul and Babe were so large, the tracks they made gallivanting around Minnesota filled up and made the 10,000 lakes. And that's why it is the land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh, okay.
Paul decided to get other lumberjacks to help him with his work. And his work crew became known as the 7 Axemen.
Were they normal sized?
It didn't seem like it.
Okay.
These men though weren't as tall. I think that they would be 7 feet tall.
Okay, so they weren't
not
giants.
as tall. Yeah,
Right.
Not giants, but very tall men. And they all had the same name so that when they would all have the same name so that when Paul would call for someone, they would all come. I think it's kind of genius, you know.
I mean, kind of. But then when you want to get one attention, you okay. It's like naming your kids thing 1, 2, 3.
Thing 1, thing 2, thing 3.
Just number them at this point. Okay.
The man who cooked for the group was named Sourdough Sam, who specialized in a lot of sourdough baking. Every Sunday, Paul and his crew ate hotcakes. Each hotcake was so large that it took 5 men to eat one. Paul usually had 10 or more hotcakes on his own.
God damn it, Paul.
Depending on how hungry he was. It is also said the table where the men ate was so long that a server usually drove to one end of the table and stayed the night. The server drove back in the morning with a fresh load of food.
Jeez.
I'm assuming with like a horse and buggy, because that's kind of like where they speculate that Paul Bunyan could have lived in the stories. Paul needed someone to help with the camp's finances. He gave the job to a man named Johnny Inkslinger. Johnny kept records of everything, including wages and the cost of feeding Babe, and he would go through a ton of ink, obviously. The camp also was home to Sport, the reversible dog.
What?
This one is up there.
What's a reversible dog? Like
glad you
turn him
asked.
inside out?
Let me explain.
Please do. Please do.
One of the workers accidentally cut Sport in two. The man hurried to put the dog back together, but made a mistake. He bent the animal's back the wrong way. However, that was not a problem for Sport. He learned to run on his front legs until he was tired. Then he turned the other way and ran on his back legs. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is this even possible? Because I couldn't picture it in my mind. I was like, how do you bend a back the wrong way? Well, let me show you.
Do we have to, though? What the fuck? But that... No. No. That's not how that works.
Not at all.
No, do you just drag the front at that point? I'm so confused. I'm
assuming it's like how if dogs have you ever seen like a two-legged dog running? It's like,
I mean, yeah, I've definitely seen a two-legged dog running. My issue with that is when he flips over. Because then his head's upside down.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand.
Anywho. Big mosquitoes were a problem at the camp. This is another snippet from a different tale. So big mosquitoes were a problem at the camp. The men attacked the insects with their axes and long sticks. Before long, the men put barriers around their living space. Then Paul ordered them to get big bees to destroy the mosquitoes.
I don't like that answer.
But apparently the bees didn't either, because they married the mosquitoes. And the problem got worse.
One more time. Hold on. What? Did they have children? Like, what? This is a thing of nightmares.
Basically, yeah.
Jesus Christ, this is literally nightmares. What the fuck?
And they began to produce young insects of the mixed variety. Imagine how that looks.
Terrifying. They have pointy things on both ends. Why would you ever want this? I don't understand. What? What?
One day, though, the insects loved sweets, and that caused them to attack a ship that was bringing sugar to the camp. At last, the mosquitoes and bees were defeated because they ate so much sugar they could not move.
So they literally killed themselves because they ate too much, is what you're telling me. Okay.
I love this legend. I'm just
I just didn't. I had no I. Okay. This is so much more than what I thought it was.
Paul always gave Babe, the blue ox, a 35-kilogram piece of sugar when he was good. So like as a treat, he would get like a sugar cube. But sometimes Babe liked to play tricks. At night, Babe would make noises and hit the ground with his feet. And the men at the camp would run out of the buildings where they slept, thinking it was an earthquake. So Babe was a little trickster at camp. When winter came, Babe had trouble finding enough food to eat because snow covered everything. Ole, the blacksmith, solved this problem. He made huge green sunglasses for Babe.
What? Okay.
When Babe wore the sunglasses, he thought the snow was grass. Before long, Babe was strong and healthy again. Now, there is a different telling of the green glasses. And in this telling, Lucy, the purple cow, was the one with the green glasses.
When the fuck did we get a cow? And why are all these animals different colors?
Lucy, the purple cow, was a champion producer and furnished Paul's dairy products. Does that make sense?
Like the cow was producing milk, cheese, all that good stuff.
She was content so long as the grass was green, and she was given the green glasses to make the snow look like grass. There's also another side little story about Lucy the cow. The year of 2 winters, it got so cold, her milk turned to ice cream before it hit the pail.
That's not how ice cream works. It's not just milk and frozen. You gotta add stuff to it. Sorry.
But that was the winter Paul invented the double-deck ice cream cone.
Okay. Do I ask what flavor the ice cream was? Do we know? Like, how is this?
I mean, she was purple, so maybe like grape or something. I don't know.
Ew, grape ice cream. I feel like grape ice cream would be more like a sherbet.
That's true. In another tale, it is said that during the slack season, Paul's men made him a pipe, which wasn't easy. They had to select a very special giant hickory tree and haul it on 2 flat cars so that they could work on it. And because of this pipe in the early days, Paul's smoking never bothered anyone. But in the later years, he started blowing his smoke west to keep his forest air fresh. And this is what caused the smogs in the West Coast. So it's smoggy in the West because it's Paul Bunyan's
smoke.
Secondhand smoke.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I love this so much. It's just...
It's you know, it's interesting. Like I said, I definitely didn't think it was this like in depth. I didn't know it was this. There was okay. Yeah, keep going.
Basically, Paul Bunyan. The legend is like Paul Bunyan is what made North America what it is today.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And like I didn't either. I thought it was like really cool.
Very cool.
Paul Bunyan and Babe left their mark on many areas. Some people say they were responsible for creating Puget Sound in the western state of Washington. Others say Paul Bunyan and Babe cleared the trees from the states of North Dakota and South Dakota, where they prepared this area for farming.
Hey, shout out North Dakota. Dakota.
But this is kind of like where our story starts dwindling. Babe, the blue ox, died in South Dakota. One story says he ate too many hotcakes. But
God damn
either
it,
way.
I mean, if you're going to go out, I guess it's eating hotcakes.
Yeah, I guess so. Paul buried his old friend there. Today, the burial place is known as the Black Hills.
Interesting. Okay. Aw, poor Babe. Too many hotcakes.
At this point in the story is where many tales differ on what Paul did or where he went. Some people say he was last seen in Alaska or even the Arctic Circle. Another tradition says he still returns to Minnesota every summer. But Paul does have a final resting place.
Okay.
One location in Minnesota claims to be home to his final resting place, a camping ground known as Paul Bunyan Memorial Park.
Okay.
He has a headstone.
Oh, good gracious. Okay.
That says, "Here lies Paul, and that's all."
Nice. Okay.
And behind it is a 20-foot grass-covered mound signifying the mythical man's imposing stature.
Oh, okay. Stature. Very cool.
When I was first looking at these pictures, I didn't realize that it was actually like a mound, like a grave, until I read that paragraph and I looked back up and I was like, oh, wow.
Like, that's not a hill. That's a mound.
That's a mound. This memorial is one of the only burial sites created for a fictitious character in the world. It's not clear when the gravesite was officially installed, though it notes that Paul Bunyan lived from 1794 to 1893. And Bella Beltrami County, which I think is where this place is located, produced an official death certificate on June 14th, 1955. So, anywho, the gravesite is located in Callagher, a town named after a lumber businessman, and just outside of Pine Island State Forest, the largest state forest in Minnesota. There are actually many statues and parks devoted to Paul Bunyan across the United States. So some of the main ones are Minnesota, Maine, California, Michigan, New York, Wisconsin, and so many more. And I actually have some. So we're going to start with the one that I believed I have visited.
Oh,
this is in Bemidji, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
This is the main one from Maine. The people in front of it is also from Minnesota. This one is from West Virginia. And that's all I took pictures of. But I do know that there are some statues of Paul Bunyan and Babe in New Mexico.
Jeez.
So like across the entire
literally.
United States. A few anecdotes of Paul Bunyan recorded from oral folklore suggests that he was known to lumbermen of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and the Northwest before the first Bunyan stories were published by James McGilvray in the Round River Tribe. So basically, these stories were told, and then the first kind of published was in this Round River Drive, which was published in Detroit News Tribune, July 24th, 1910.
Okay.
Within 15 years, through popularization by professional writers, Bunyan was transformed from an occupational folk figure into a national legend that he is today. Paul was first introduced to a general audience by W.B. Lawhead, who was a Minnesota advertising man, in a series of pamphlets used to publicize the products of the Red River Lumber Company. And that was from 1914 to 1944 that Paul Bunyan was used in these pamphlets.
Okay. These
influenced Esther Shepherd, who wrote of the mythic hero in Paul Bunyan, which I'm assuming is a book, in 1924. And then James Stevens, also a lumber publicist, mixed tradition and invention in his version of the story, also titled Paul Bunyan, in 1925. Yeah, they are books. These books restyled Paul's image for a wide popular audience. Their humor centered on Paul's giganticness rather than his knowledge of lumbering techniques. So I think that's kind of how the story went from impressive, he can knock down an entire forest with one swing of his axe, to bees marrying mosquitoes and having monstrosity babies.
That's just literally terrifying. Like, that is things of nightmare. Like, no.
The Bunyan legend was further popularized by numerous children books and civic festivals. And yeah, he's a popular figure around all of
the United States of
America.
Knows about him. I didn't know all this about him, so I'm sure we learned a lot today, like new things. But like, yeah, I definitely think everyone knows like about him.
Very cool. And that's the legend of Paul Bunyan and his blue ox babe.
Very cool. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I know you've been wanting to do that for a minute.
It was so much fun, and like I just kept getting surprise after surprise. I was like, wait, he's responsible for why North Dakota is so barren?
That and like the Great Lakes.
The Great Lakes.
There was a purple cow, apparently.
The 10,000 lakes that are just their footprints.
The Black Mountains Hills.
The Black Hills.
Black Hills. Like all the things. That's really cool. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Want to hear mine?
Yes.
So I wanted to do urban legend. It's called Tiki Tiki.
Okay.
And it's a Japanese urban legend. And it's so freaky. And it's so creepy. But there's not a lot of information on it. So I was like doing it. And I'm like, okay, I got like literally, I looked at like 3 different websites. It's all the same information. It's really creepy. And I wanted to talk about it. But there wasn't a lot. So instead, I'm going to tell you guys 3 different urban legends. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to start with the tiki tiki. Buckle up. So we're going to start with the tiki tiki.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally a human called Chizo who was bullied and or sexually assaulted, which then caused her to jump off a train station onto the tracks.
Oh, no.
Where she was cut in half by an incoming train.
Wow. Fun fact. I have a cousin, like a distant cousin on my stepdad's side that got his leg cut off because they were trying to jump a train.
What? Really? That actually happens?
Yeah, they were trying to like jump on the train as it was like passing through. You know, it's dumb kid stuff. And yeah,
I just didn't think that actually happened.
He lost his left leg.
Oh my God.
He has a prosthetic.
That's crazy. That's wild. Okay, well, this lady was cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
She barely survived due to the cold weather.
What do you mean? She survived being cut in half?
Tiki Tiki crawled to a person for help, but upon seeing her disfigurement, they left her to die. Her vengeful spirit now stalks the streets of Japan. Her name comes from the sound that she makes as she pursues her victims. Running, air quotes, across the ground using her hands as her entire lower section has been torn off, leaving nothing but her upper torso and arms, by which the demon hunts down her prey.
No. Stop.
Yeah.
No.
And the tiki tiki is like how the bone, it's like the bones as she's like crawling towards people.
Why would you say that?
Because I needed to explain it a little more, you know?
I don't think you did. What bones? Her tailbone?
Her ribs.
Oh, is she like skeletonized?
I mean, different things, different whatever.
Okay.
Like, but her like flesh falling off of this creepy thing crawling towards you. So the most common story I could find was a young schoolboy was walking home at night, and he spotted a beautiful young girl standing by a windowsill resting on her elbows. They smiled at each other for a moment. The boy wondered what a girl was doing in an all-boys school. But before he could wonder more about the girl, she jumped out of the window and revealed her lower half was missing. Frightened, he stood up on the sidewalk, but before he could run, she caught up to his location quickly on her arms and cut the boy in half.
What? With
So
what?
With her hands. I don't know. But literally what this person, she stalks people by train stations to cut them in half, as she was cut in half and left to die.
Of her own choices? She's the one that jumped in front of the train.
Okay, but she was jumping because she was bullied and or being sexually assaulted.
Okay.
That's one story. Another story is she was being stupid and jumped in front of it. I don't know.
Okay.
But now she haunts people and cuts them in half.
Magically.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of think it's like, I mean, you think of like scary movies, right? I mean, sometimes people just explode in scary movies. They're being hunted and haunted. And
They just explode.
Like, you know, they're like scary. You don't watch scary movies. I'm talking like trashy, horrible scary movies. They just like get cut in half or like arms get cut off and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't know. It makes sense to me.
Okay. Maybe it'll make sense to some of our listeners.
Does it make sense to you guys? Am I going crazy? You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes you don't need a murder weapon. I don't know. It's an urban legend, okay?
Okay.
I didn't question your Paul Bunyan work.
Okay.
So that is the tiki tiki. And literally, I looked like multiple sites. The only story I could find was the boy story. And then how, you know, they stalk people at train stations.
Okay.
And cut them in half and hunt them on their hands. They like crawl towards people and drag the body.
I hate it.
The torso behind
Next.
them.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm done. So terrifying.
Right? Okay. So Akamanto, also called the Red Cloak.
Okay.
And this is a story. So buckle in.
Buckling.
Grab your popcorn. Okay.
Popcorn.
I don't know. Snack of choice. I like popcorn. We begin our story in the bathroom, a seemingly popular place for Japanese urban legends. Akamanto is a male spirit who wears a red cloak and a mask and is said to haunt school and public restrooms with a particular fondness for the last stall in the women's bathroom. Once you are seated in the stall, you hear a male voice ask you if you want red or blue paper.
What kind of, like, construction paper? Are we gonna draw while we're going to the bathroom?
Choose your words carefully. If you say red paper, you'll meet a bloody end. If you say blue paper, you'll be suffocated to death until you're blue.
What the? No paper, thank you. No, thank you. I got paper right here. Thank you. Goodbye. What are you doing in a women's bathroom? Get out.
If you try to confuse the spirit by asking for a different colored paper, you will be dragged to hell instantly.
I mean, I'm going there anyways. Might as well speed up the process.
To avoid the brutal ends, this is how you survive. You simply refuse his offer and run. So don't confuse him. Just be like, nah, fam, and get out of there. So that was Akamanto.
Okay.
He's the creeper in the bathroom who offers you paper.
Why paper?
I don't make up these stories. I don't know. So the last one is called the Anunkai Tunnel. Now we're talking about tunnel. You ready?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. It's pretty close to a cave, so no thank you.
I mean, I guess so. It's a man-made cave. Does that make it better?
No. It's still a place underground. That's dark and creepy.
Yeah. You can just tune out for this next part, okay? So the true mystery of the Anunkai village is whether or not it ever existed.
Okay.
Rumors of it have persisted in Japan and online since the 1990s. Supposedly located deep in the Nunkai countryside, this abandoned village is only to be accessible through the Anunkai Tunnel. I'm also might be pronouncing that wrong, guys. I don't speak Japanese. It is Inunaki for those of you who want to look it up. The stories that say that all who enter the village are doomed to a violent death.
Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm. These myths and tales also seem to mention that there is some sort of official sign stating the Japanese Constitution is not in effect past here, meaning all who enter are on their own to face the real or supernatural horrors that are await. It gives me Silent Hill vibes. So I think this was like an inspiration for Silent Hill.
Interesting.
Because that's what vibes it gives me.
Mm-hmm.
The tales, however, were likely inspired by a brutal murder that actually took place in a Nunkai tunnel. The tunnel being remote and rarely used by traffic, it was a popular spot for gangs. One afternoon, December 1988, a group of teens kidnapped, robbed, and tortured a 20-year-old before burning the young man alive deep within the tunnel.
This tunnel is not in use anymore?
No.
What was it made for? Do you know? Was it like a train tunnel or car tunnel?
It's a car tunnel.
It's a car tunnel?
It's a car tunnel. And it's supposed to take you to the Nunkai, but the village has never existed. But they say it exists. It's very creepy. Today, the tunnel, or also known as Howling Dog Tunnel in Japanese, is considered one of the most haunted places in Japan. Large concrete bricks block its entrance, though adventurers manage to get in regardless.
So the government has actually blocked it off this
now.
Tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Locals say electronic devices and even their cars often break down around the tunnel.
Oh, so you can't send a remote car or whatever,
like a drone or something,
with a camera through it and see if the village actually exists, but I guess that wouldn't work.
And the sounds of barking dogs and ghastly screams emanate from deep inside the tunnel.
What if you flew over it in a helicopter
to see what's on the other side of the tunnel?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Would you still get cursed? Or
I don't know. Should we go check it out?
No.
I think we should.
I have enough bad luck on my own. Thank you.
Right. I don't need that kind of stuff. The legend of the tunnel and the village were even inspirations for the 2020 film Howling Village from Ju-on creator Takashi Shimizu. So I think I looked it up. Howling Village is a obviously Japanese film, but I kind of want to watch it because I mean, I'm interested now. But yeah, so that is a story of the Anukai Tunnel.
Insane.
And those are my 3 stories. I know they're really short, and I'm sorry, but like they were really good. But also, like there are a lot of really creepy good stories out there, and they're not enough information on them to do them for a full episode. So I was like, F it, I want to tell these stories, so I'm just gonna throw 3 in one.
Okay.
Yeah,
here we are.
They're short, they're sweet, but here we are. So yeah, also my mouse died, so we're gonna try to do this raw. We're gonna see if I can do it. So that's it for this episode, guys. If you liked
if you enjoyed the podcast.
No, I got this.
Okay.
If you enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you're watching on YouTube. Hi. Yeah, subscribe. Do it, please. We're at 17. 17. We're at 17, guys. Be the 18th. We love to see our little subscriber list grow. We love you guys. Appreciate your support.
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with our username at TTATA Podcast. And in the bio of all of our social medias is our email. If you have any comments, concerns, suggestions of what you would like us to cover,
please
hit us up. Email
Nikki
us.
has her topics for the next year. Meanwhile, I'm struggling.
Next rotation of topics.
All of them. If you message us, I will look it up and I might add it. So, guys, you could be inspiration. Thanks for listening, guys. Next week, we are going to be covering unsolved mysteries, which I freaking love. It's one of my favorite topics. So, I'm excited. But yeah, with that, we're going to leave you with this inspirational quote.
Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. By Marcel Proust.
Love that. Proust? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I can't stop my recording. So